The previous method has collected all of the data from our best basket sessions into items array. So now what we're going to do, first of all, is we'll check if our array, this underscore items, is an empty. In other words, if there are some products, if we have any products inside of this array. So now we're going to create object user, and we assign a new user object to it. Then we're going to try to get the user record. So object user get user, and we pass the session get session login underscore login front, which is basically the ID of the user record after registration, which we store within the session. So now we create object basket equals new basket class. Okay, and now we start adding values to the fields and values arrays. So this underscore fields, we're going to add the key client. This values, the value assigned to the client will be this db escape, and the value will be user ID. Actually, before we do this, what we also should do is to basically check if the user record has been found. So we check if is an empty user. And now we wrap all this inside of the statement. And after this, if is an empty user, we can return false, because that would mean that obviously user record has been empty, which means obviously we couldn't process our request. Now, if is an empty items, after this we also should return false. Okay, now the next part. Again, this underscore fields. This time we will have VAT rate. This underscore values will equal this db escape, and we put object basket underscore VAT rate. If we copy this entire thing, scroll up a little bit. Okay, now VAT rate. After VAT rate, we're going to have VAT, and that's going to be only underscore VAT. Copy these two lines again, paste them underneath, and now we have subtotal, and it's going to be object basket sub underscore total. Copy all these again. After subtotal, we will have total, so basically underscore total. Copy them again. After total, we have date. This time it will simply be helper class with the method set date. We don't pass any values, so it's going to return the current date and time. Okay, after all these values, now we can finally create a SQL statement in order to insert all these values into the database. So we start with SQL equals insert into this underscore table. Sorry, after this we're going to create a bracket and a quote. Then we have SQL implode, and in between two double quotes, those backgoing single quotes, then comma, this, and we pass in all fields, the array of fields, which we've collected all of them here, as you can see. After this, we do SQL dot equal, then we're closing single back quote and closing the bracket. Then we have values. We open the bracket, then just a regular single quote, then SQL.equal concatenating implode, and this time we're going to be imploding using the single quote, comma, and single quote. Then after comma we pass this underscore values, and after this SQL.equal, then comma, sorry, a single quote, closing bracket, and after the double quote, semicolon. So this is our entire statement. You know already obviously what implode statement does. It takes all of the elements of the array and concatenates them using this as a concatenator, basically the first element, the first parameter. Okay, now that we have our statement ready, let's execute it. So this db query, and we pass the SQL as parameter. Now this underscore id equals this db last id, which basically takes the last automatically actually generated ID inside of the database. Now we check if isn't empty this underscore ID. Then scroll up. Let's empty all of our arrays. So this fields equals array, and this values equals array. And then let's load items to the table. So this add items, and we pass this ID underscore ID. Add items is a method we're going to be dealing with in the next video, and right after this let's return true. Actually no, we're going to be returning this value here. So return this add items this ID. So let's move to the next video and have a look at our add items method.